Before this tape begins, I want to thank a member of the DarkTapes community. The nightmare you are about to hear was shared with me by someone who trusted us enough to describe what they experienced. I have expanded it into a complete story, but the fear at its center belongs to them. My name is Naya, and this is the nightmare I still cannot explain. I woke in a hospital bed with no memory of how I had gotten there. For several seconds I stayed completely still, staring at the ceiling while fluorescent lights hummed above me. The air smelled of disinfectant and dried blood. When I pushed myself upright, I saw dark stains soaked into the mattress and smeared across the floor. No nurses came when I called out. No doctors answered. The monitor beside me was dark, the IV stand was empty, and the door opened into a hallway that stretched farther than it should have. That was when I heard the beep. It sounded like a heart monitor somewhere in another room, soft, steady, almost comforting. I waited for it to repeat, hoping it meant someone else was alive. When I stepped into the hallway, it sounded again. I took another step, and it answered me. At first, I thought the timing was a coincidence. Then I stopped moving, and the hospital became silent. I lifted one foot and placed it forward. Beep. The sound did not come from one direction. It drifted through the ceiling vents, bounced from the tiled walls, and seemed to move from room to room before I could follow it. Sometimes it sounded close enough to be directly behind me. Other times, it seemed buried somewhere deep beneath the building. Blood covered long sections of the hallway. Some of it had dried nearly black, while some still looked wet beneath the flickering lights. Doors stood open on both sides, revealing empty beds, overturned equipment, and curtains hanging loose from their tracks. There were no bodies, but the amount of blood made it impossible to believe everyone had simply walked away. I searched the rooms anyway. I did not know exactly what I was looking for. Maybe an exit map, maybe a working phone, maybe another person who could tell me what had happened. Each room gave me another reason to keep searching. A cup of coffee sat warm on a desk. A wheelchair rocked slowly in a corner before stopping as I approached. One patient chart contained fresh handwriting, but the name had been scratched out so violently the paper had torn. The deeper I went, the more the hospital seemed to change around me. Doors I had already opened were suddenly locked. Exit signs pointed in opposite directions. I passed the same nurse's station 3 times, even though I never turned around. The beep followed every movement. After what felt like hours, I heard something different. Several monitors were sounding at once, uneven, but steady enough to mean someone was alive. Relief hit me so hard my knees almost gave out. I followed the sound to a closed room at the end of the corridor. My hand shook as I reached for the handle, but I pushed the door open. A man sat upright in the hospital bed. Both of his legs were gone below the knees. Thick bandages covered the ends, but blood had soaked through them and spread across the sheets. His skin was pale, his lips were cracked, and every breath rattled in his chest. For the first time since waking, I was not alone. I rushed to his bedside and began asking questions. I wanted to know who he was, what had happened, and where the exit was. He tried to answer, but only broken sounds came from his throat. Blood gathered at the corners of his mouth as he struggled to speak, and then he began choking. I leaned closer, hoping to understand even one word. His eyes suddenly moved past me. The fear on his face changed everything. He raised one trembling hand and pointed over my shoulder. He tried to yell, but the warning came out wet and broken. I did not know what he had seen, but my body reacted before my mind did. I threw myself to the side. Something passed close enough for me to feel the air move across my face. At that exact moment, the quiet beep that had followed me through the hospital became a deafening alarm. I hit the floor and looked back. A masked figure stood beside the bed, holding a chainsaw. The engine roared. The man's eyes met mine for one final second before the blade tore through him and the bed beneath him. Metal twisted, blood struck the walls, and the entire room shook from the sound. The figure never looked down at what it had done. It turned its masked face toward me, and I ran.
I don't remember deciding to run. One second I was staring at the masked figure standing over the ruined hospital bed, and the next I was sprinting down the hallway as fast as my legs could carry me. The roar of the chainsaw followed behind, mixing with the blaring alarm until the two sounds became one. I slammed into the first exit door I found. It did not move. The next was boarded shut. Another had heavy chains wrapped around the handles. Every possible way out had been sealed, as if someone wanted to make sure no one ever escaped. My breathing became ragged. I tried to scream for help, but no sound came out. I forced air from my lungs until my chest burned, yet all I managed was a weak gasp. No matter how hard I tried, the hospital would not let me make a sound. The alarm grew louder with every step. It no longer felt like it was echoing through the building. It felt like it was inside my head. At the end of another corridor, I saw an enormous steel door unlike anything else in the hospital. Deep scratches covered its surface, and painted across the center was a single black letter, M. I had no idea what it meant, and I did not stop to wonder. I pushed with everything I had. For a moment, the door refused to move. Then it slowly groaned open. Cold air rushed over me as I stumbled through. The door slammed shut behind me with enough force to shake the ground. The hospital was gone. I stood inside a massive maze surrounded by towering stone walls covered in thick vines and twisting plants. Paths stretched in every direction and disappeared into darkness. For the first time since waking, the chainsaw stopped. I ran anyway. Every turn looked the same. The walls were too high to see over, and no matter which direction I chose, I could not find a way out. My chest burned, my legs ached, and panic clouded every thought. I sometimes heard footsteps behind me. Whenever I stopped, they stopped too. Certain I had no other choice, I grabbed the vines and began climbing. For one hopeful second, I thought I was going to make it. Then my hands slipped. The plants were coated in something slick. I crashed onto the ground hard enough to knock the air from my lungs. Pain shot through my shoulder and ribs as I tried to force myself back up. That was when I heard the starter cord. One pull, then another. The chainsaw coughed before roaring back to life. It was much closer now. Adrenaline dragged me to my feet. I ran deeper into the maze, ignoring the pain as branches scraped my arms and face. I stopped choosing directions. I only turned wherever the path allowed me to keep moving. Then the corridor ended. A solid stone wall stood in front of me. I spun around, searching for another opening, but there was nowhere left to go. The chainsaw went silent. The masked figure stepped slowly around the corner. It did not run. It did not speak. It walked toward me with the chainsaw hanging at its side, its blank mask hiding every trace of emotion. I tried one last time to scream. Nothing came out. The figure stopped only a few feet away and tilted its head as if it were studying me. Then it raised the chainsaw and pulled the throttle.
The engine screamed. The blade struck the center of my chest. The pain stole the air from my lungs before I could react. Every nerve in my body caught fire, and the maze disappeared. I woke in my own bed. For 1 second, I thought it was over. Then I realized I could not move. My bedroom was exactly as I had left it. Moonlight came through the blinds, and my phone rested on the nightstand, but every muscle in my body refused to respond. Sleep paralysis. My eyes moved around the room while panic took over. Then, the same deafening alarm from the hospital filled my bedroom. I could not move. I could not speak. I could not even close my eyes. Then the pain returned. I felt the chainsaw cutting through my chest all over again. Every vibration, every burning sensation, every desperate attempt to breathe. It felt as real as it had inside the maze. The alarm continued until everything suddenly became silent. A few moments later, my body released me. Morning came, and I convinced myself it had only been a nightmare. That the hospital, the man in the bed, the maze, and the masked figure had never existed. But sometimes, when the house is silent and everyone else is asleep, I hear one soft electronic beep. If I stay perfectly still, it disappears. The moment I take a step, it sounds again. I have searched every room. I have checked every alarm, every phone, and every device in the house. I still cannot find where it is coming from. Sometimes I wonder if the hospital was never trying to keep me inside. Maybe it was making sure I would never truly leave. And if you ever wake to the sound of a heart monitor in an empty room, do not follow it. Because if you can hear the beeping, it already knows where you are.
You've reached the end of the tape, or maybe the tape reached the end of you. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next file. If you've lived through a nightmare you still can't explain, share it in the comments or send it to DarkTape. It could become our next story. Until the next transmission, sleep carefully.